random thoughts of consciousness. Just letting your fucking consciousness go wherever it may go. Just almost like channeling the algorithm. Channeling the inner space of the internet. Looking at it like the internet is not saying that it is a divine entity, but looking at it almost like the internet can be you can transpose some of your thoughts, and you can resonate it through the internet, and it can go through a hyperstition valve. If you know who Nick Land is, Nick Land, shouts out to Nick Land, where he talks about hyperstition. And he talks about like how the internet can be used as a type of time vacuum to where you resonate and speak things to the internet, and hypothetically the internet transforms into this whole sort of vortex, and this vortex becomes into being, and then it becomes hyperstition. And it's funny that you mentioned Blitz. Well, if you know what hyperstition is, Blitz used to always use the term Momo. Well, the term Momo, as silly as that shit is, was this hyperstition device to where this meme on the internet in Japan interfaced with the internet, and it became a reality. People began to be scared of the Momo. The Momo manifested itself into being from the internet. So literally we had a specific case where someone spoke about the Momo. Now, I'm not saying Blitz was responsible for this, but I'm saying Blitz kind of unconsciously was practicing hyperstition. Blitz was part of the whole entire xenoform, xenomap, Nicklandian consciousness and hyperstition. Because Nick Land created this type of device that looks kind of like a Kabbalistic tree, but it's the xenoform. It's the xenoform. It's the sort of map that he created that's supposed to simulate hyperstition. So I believe with hyperstition, we can change the currents of the world. We don't realize that at our very fingertips is a magical device, and the internet is just compressed information. It's just compressed information flowing. It's just so many souls on a conveyor belt. Just so many souls that are going in and out of the internet and flowing through the most subterranean forms of the internet, and then manifesting itself into hyperstition. Another form of hyperstition that started off as a copy pasta is the Slender Man. The Slender Man started off as hyperstition, and then it manifested itself into an urban legend. I think that's kind of how urban legends function. For all those that don't understand quite what hyperstition is, it's basically visualizing and imprinting your being into the internet, and then taking it, and then expressing it to the outer world. That's what hyperstition is. We must learn to encapsulate hyperstition so that we can finally make the world onto our own. And the only way we do that is through hyperstition. That's our mission. Hyper motherfucking stition. See, the guy who created accelerationism was Nick Land. Nick Land had an interesting concept of hyperstition and accelerationism. He believed that he could accelerate the world through multiple means. And you know, Nick Land is not necessarily our guy, but Nick Land saw stuff like racism and white nationalism as the catalyst that could be utilized, stuff from the far right that could be utilized for the proliferation of acceleration. You could take these concepts and you can proliferate them through the internet, and you can cause acceleration. And I think in many ways, in the early days when we were on the internet back in 2016 to 2000, even 2022, we were imparting hyperstition into the internet and through the memes. And we created a lot of what you see today. Because of us, so-called anti-Semitism is now more prevalent, or I should say, counter-Semitism. There's much more recognition of what these particular groups are doing. More awareness. And we spread that through the internet. We spread our hyperstition. This is why you have people like Ian Carroll and all these other people like Theo Vaughn, all these like mainstream people now that are talking about the JQ. It's because of us. We call it the hyperstition. That was our mission. We didn't realize that we were on a divine quest. We were on a divine quest to bring light from the subterranean to the surface. We didn't realize that we were on a mission to create the hyperstition. We didn't realize that we were fulfilling Nick Land's ambition, and we were spreading the hyperstition. So now it's far and wide, and people know. Some people choose to ignore. We're also the people that made Kanye West go crazy. Hyperstition. That's our mission. Nick Land. Nick Land. We fulfilled Nick Land's plan through hyperstition. Hyperstition. That was our mission. And now we're wishing. I hope we can handle what came out of hyperstition and what came from the mission, because Nick Land sees capitalism as this great big machine and all these different movable parts that combine themselves until they accelerate. He looks at possible the internet being both the nexus point of the past and the present, to the past and the present form, and they form into this great big void, and then they form this vortex, and from out this vortex becomes a reality. That's hyperstition. Shouts out to Nick Land. That's hyperstition. Shouts out to the CCRU, who didn't realize they would lay the ground map to our new beginning. They didn't realize they were undergoing a new enlightenment of the Western world. We're going to undergo, through all this confusion, through all this fog, we're going to go through a new renaissance. We're going to go through a renaissance to cause hyperstition. And we're going to fulfill Nick Land's plan. Even though I'm not Nick Land's #1 fan, I hope that you understand hyperstition. That's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. Impressed, bro. You like that?